In these new, unique, and challenging times, artists and performers across Central Florida are creating special ways to connect with the world. They're sharing their gifts and inspiring us right from their living rooms. You're watching Live from Home on Vision TV. It's all starting in 3, 2, 1. I'm Renata Sago, your host. In 2003, a woman came from New York to Orlando with a difficult job. She had to organize a festival that would bring peace to this region and maybe even the world through film. That woman had no contacts in this area. She barely had enough money to pull the festival off. That woman was Nina Streich. She's executive director of the Global Peace Film Festival, and she's joining us 17 years later with an update on that event, which successfully happened in 2003 and continues to happen this year in the midst of this matrix that we're in. Hey, Nina, good to see you.
Hi, Renata. It's great to be with you.
So you're in New York right now. You're organizing what's essentially a virtual festival in the midst of something that had been previously physical in the past, taking place in Winter Park. What is it like?
Well, it's kind of exciting in a way because it's a whole new ball game. We're doing everything we can to deliver as robust and exciting a film festival as we have in person, but doing a virtual film festival is completely different than doing one in person. I mean, usually I would be down in Orlando right now, and I would be spending, much of the summer down there working, in Orlando working on setting up the festival. Now I'm basically on my sofa day in and day out on Zoom.
You're literally on your sofa, and you've been different places. You've been different places across the world too on your sofa. You were saying that you'd been to Australia,
Yes.
You were in Israel, right?
Yeah, we have films from Australia, from Spain, from Italy, from Costa Rica, from Israel, and we've been having Zooms with all the filmmakers to meet them before the festival, which is very different because usually you don't, you email back and forth, and when the filmmaker comes to the festival, you meet them for the first time. But this is wonderful to meet the filmmakers before they even upload their films to our virtual platform. So we can discuss with them, what their goals for their film is. And it's one of the things that the Global Peace Film Festival works really hard. With film festivals, there are like three legs to the stool of film festivals. There's the festival itself and our audience, which is absolutely critically important. There's the filmmakers, actually, it's us, the audience, and the filmmakers, and we work to achieve something of value to each one of those legs of the stool. And we're able to discuss with the filmmakers in advance what it is that they're looking to achieve with their films that we usually talk about at the film festival. So it's been very exciting. A little frustrating. Still
I bet.
on my couch.
Right. But let me ask you, there's something that you brought up too that was really interesting. You've got some exciting things going on. You're able to talk more to the filmmakers in depth, but funding has always been something that you've grappled with, whether we're dealing with a pandemic or not. Something you said that was really fascinating was this word peace. People had told you, well, if you want to keep the festival going, to potentially get rid of the word peace. It's not a sexy term. Why do people think that?
Right. I haven't heard that so much lately, but in the early years, I mean, even 10 years, for a period of 10 years or even more, because this is our 18th festival. People would say, the festival is so good. I really like the films, but I tell my friends about it and they go, why would I want to go to something about peace? And I'm like, but that's the reason for it. why isn't peace something central to absolutely everybody? However you look at peace, it can be from, peace in your own home. It can be peace in your heart. It doesn't have to, there isn't the political meaning to the word that so many people expect it to be. And we've worked really hard to program a festival that there's something that anybody will find that speaks to them. We show mostly documentaries, and some people find that a little hard, but I always argue with people that, if you have a documentary and then you have, because the story is so great, you have a narrative feature that's made, a dramatic feature that's made of the same story. I can guarantee if you watch one then the other, the documentary is going to be more exciting, because in the narrative feature, the outcome. I mean, there's something not real. I mean, the most crazy things that happen in life, you don't know what's happening tomorrow.
Right.
And that's what's great about documentaries, about non-historic documentaries.
Yes.
It is just, you don't know what's going to happen next.
Yeah, I mean, that's just the world we're living in right now. But what we do know,
exactly.
Yeah, is that September 21st, the virtual festival kicks off. You've got
that's the International Day of Peace.
International Day of Peace. You actually sent a couple of trailers. These sort of speak to the spirit of the work that you guys have been doing over the past few years. One of these trailers you sent is day one, so let's take a look at that.
Good morning, NCNAA Globetrotters! Vision first. All students will be for global academic success.
Our student body is 100% immigrant and or refugee students. They come from all over the world.
We really spent a lot of time getting to know them personally, hearing their stories and learning about their educational background, and we're helping them to heal.
Oh, I'm from Kenya.
And I'm from Afghanistan. Like, whatever music if I like, I will send her and she's gonna listen. I like Justin Bieber.
Sam.
They're not camera shy.
They show the best that's cool for all the world.
Before we had this program, I think a lot of these kids, they will get lost in the cracks just because they had not had teachers to get them acclimated to being in school here.
We was walk like throughout the school. There was mixed old and little children in the same class.
In Congo, my grandpa was shot by some people. They were looking for some kind of a tribe.
In Somalia, there is a lot of problem. If you are little, they're gonna cut you, they're gonna put you in soldier.
Since Haroon is an adult and he's unaccompanied, he often needs assistance. Last year was homeless, and so he gets a lot of his documents here, so he and I go over them together.
We need people. They are part of the rejuvenation of our city. St. Louis had gone from 850,000 and now it's at 316,000.
These are people who were forgotten. For them, it's a wonderful thing to be able to come over here and get have a chance to start over again.
What these kids needed to be successful was to first have a soft place to land.
I want to become an architect.
If I grow up, I want to be a nurse.
I want to be a writer in my country, so I want to be famous. I was there with my mom and I working with her.
I'm happy to hear that.
Hooking them on education, hooking them on learning, helping them to acclimate, helping them to navigate and be safe when they're even not with us, when they're at home, when they're in their neighborhoods. It's just about showing love.
Oh my goodness, that's really exciting. I'm looking forward to being able to see that. It's talking about just the unique obstacles that people who come to this country fleeing very difficult situations experience. The films that you show, you really push the envelope. You encourage critical thinking. I mean, there's this one you sent, The Great Disconnect. That's crazy. And that's what we're sort of...
That's what we're dealing with now. But we also look for films that inspire people to do something. You know, one of the taglines of our festival has been watch films, get involved, change things. And we really mean that. You know, another of our taglines is it starts here, because for most film festivals, the excitement of the festival is when the lights go down. For us, it's the excitement when the lights come up. So what we look for in films is films with an inspiring message, films that say, you can do something. There's, you know, it takes all of us to make a great society.
Yeah, and this is really interesting. The trailer that you sent, which we're going to see in just a moment, it sort of speaks to the crisis of not having that state of mind, of being in this sort of individualistic state of mind. So let's take a quick look at The Great Disconnect trailer.
The more we get together, the more we get together, the happier we'll be, the happier we'll be, the happier we'll be, the happier we'll be.
We have, in North America particularly, exalted personal independence to an almost godlike state. There is no higher value than independence.
There is no higher value than, there is no higher to an almost godlike state. To an almost godlike state.
Societies have become more individualistic, and people have been more concerned with themselves.
People now entertain themselves alone, work alone, are more fragmented, more atomized.
I think it's difficult to become part of a community when you don't really know the role that you want to play.
You can feel lonely in a crowd of people. You can have lots of Facebook friends and still feel incredibly lonely.
Social isolation is the medical equivalent of smoking 15 cigarettes a day. It has the same impact on health as diabetes.
There's so much change going on. I think it's very hard for a lot of young people to establish the kind of roots and community that we have in our minds about what a community should be about.
The level of social isolation is very high.
And right now, what I see, it's getting bad. It's going to get worse.
Can we as individuals be both individualistic and communal? That's the challenge of our time.
Wow, that's something else. So you've made the most of the past few months by having conversations with filmmakers on Facebook Live. They're really exciting to watch. How's that been for you?
Well, when we started, you know, we actually had some live events. We have year-round programming for the Global Peace Film Festival. We have screenings in different places. And we immediately had to, even before the lockdown, we had to decide, are we going to do this screening where I was going to come down and the filmmaker was coming down from another place, and we didn't know what was going to go on. And so we decided very, you know, quite early, you know, like a week or two before everything really did shut down, that maybe it would be safer to postpone for a month or two and figure out when we could reschedule this film that was going to be a world premiere screening. And actually, we now have the film's called Swing State, Florida, and it's going to be in the upcoming virtual festival as well. So you know, now everybody's at home, and we're like, what can we do to reach that audience and also to make up for the stuff that we've just canceled? And we decided a lot of filmmakers were putting their films online for free because everybody was looking for, you know, what am I going to do now? And so we reached out to some of the filmmakers who had films in the festival and said, we're going to direct our audiences to, our mailing list and our social media followers to see your film, and then we'll have a question and answer session about it. And so the first couple of those that we did, the funny thing was nobody watched the film beforehand.
Oh.
But we got, people were pinging us and saying, hey, I want to see that film. And so we realized that, the virtual space is very different than a Q&A in
it totally is. Yeah.
festival. And so how can we take advantage of this medium, not translate what we did before?
Right. So let's take a look at it. Let's take a look at you in action, because it's so difficult when you're doing something live to sort of keep that conversation going, and you do such a great job at it. Let's check a few of those clips out now.
Hello and welcome to the Global Peace Film Festival GLOW, GPFF Lives Online Conversation. I'm Kelly Devine, Artistic Director, along with Nina Streich, Executive Director. We want to welcome you to tonight's conversation with Valerie Carr to discuss her new book, See No Stranger, a memoir and manifesto of revolutionary love, and her Revolutionary Love Project. Valerie first came to our attention in 2007 when we were honored to share her film Divided We Fall, Americans in the Aftermath with our audience. And Nina, let's start that questioning.
Yeah, let's start with Valerie. Tell us a little bit about the film.
Well, first of all, I just want to say it's such a delight to be here with you both, Nina and Kelly. I often think about how, especially now during this pandemic, how I find myself leaning on the longest lasting relationships in my life, both personally and professionally. And the fact that we have been tethered together in this relationship for
back together
more than 13 years. I mean, it's life-giving in a time like this. I often think like the work for justice is long and hard, but our circle is small. So thank you for being part of my community and for sustaining community around the Global Peace Film Festival. I remember I was at the beginning of my career as an activist when I first made Divided We Fall with my now husband, Sharat Raju. And I had started to make the film in the aftermath of September 11th. In the wake of the horror of those attacks, hate violence broke out on city streets across the country. And the first person killed in a hate crime after 9/11 was a Sikh turbaned man who I called Uncle, Balbir Singh Sodhi. And so I was a college student. I didn't know what to do. I just knew something had to be done to tell his story. This was before social media. This was before we had any channels to tell our own story. So I had an old camera, a high 8 camera. And I got in my car at 20 years old and began crossing the country and capturing our stories. And that became Divided We Fall, Americans in the Aftermath. And joy is the meaning of life. So I don't know what will become of us. I don't know what's going to happen next year, this November, let alone tomorrow. But I know that each day I breathe through my grief. I breathe through my rage, my red hot rage. And I discern, well, what is my role now and next? What can I do for my children, for my family, for my community, for my country now and next? And who can I do it with? Because we don't go to battle alone and we don't give birth alone, we need each other. And so that's why I was talking about these long-standing relationships. You know, we hold each other in community. We are breathing and pushing together through this dark and unknowing time.
That's beautiful.
That's one of the things that I wanted to kind of bring back to is, in terms of this journey, is that story you related about your exhibition of Divided We Fall. And finding out how it was this wonderful tool for eliciting other people's stories and being able to draw out the mutuality of our humanity, right? And that the quest for justice isn't resentful. It's not about settling scores. It's about making sure that we all mutually are respected and our dignity can flourish.
Yes, That's it. The aim of divine rage, the aim of revolutionary love is not vengeance. It is to reorder the world as we know it, where no human being is disposable. That means that we need only to be responsible for our small patch of sky, our specific area of influence. We need only to shine our particular point of light, long and steady, to become part of stories sown into the heavens.
That's beautiful.
That is a beautiful way to close this conversation. But remind everyone who's listening that the conversation goes on, and we're looking forward to hearing the ways that you're joining this conversation of revolutionary love, and looking forward to connecting with folks in September over the festival. You'll be hearing more in the coming weeks about the schedule and about events. And Nina and I just want to thank Valerie one more time. We really, truly appreciate your friendship over all of these years, decades. So thank you. And we are going to be keeping our eye on your project and supporting you in any way we can. So thank you.
Thank you, Nina. Thank you, Kelly. Thank you for what you do and for who you are.
And thank you for what you do. And we wish you all the, energy and perseverance and growth in the world. Love to your family.
Amazing. So how can we follow the festival and keep following these conversations?
Well, you can follow us. First of all, sign up for our newsletter at info@peacefilmfest.org, and we'll add you to the newsletter. Our website is peacefilmfest.org, and all the information about the virtual festival will be on the site. And any events that we're able to do in person, which we certainly hope there will be something, will also be listed on our website. You can follow us on social media, on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and it's all Peace Film Fest. So that's how to find us. And you can email, if you have any questions, email info@peacefilmfest.org.
Nina Streich, thank you so much for bringing peace, images of peace, conversations about peace to the world. We appreciate you being here.
Thank you so much, Renata. So good to see you.
Good to see you too. I hope you've enjoyed today's show. You can find more episodes on demand on YouTube at orangetvfl.net. Follow me as well at Renata Sago. I'm looking forward to seeing you next time. We're looking for more talent too. Thank you to everyone who's already submitted their videos to us. All you have to do, for those who haven't, is submit yours to live@orangetvfl.net through Dropbox or WeTransfer, and we might use it on a future episode of Live from Home. Until next time, peace.